I try to make everybody feel welcome. You know, whether you're from Vermont or you're from New York or you're from Florida, I just try and make everybody feel welcome. It's a nice, close-knit, tight-knit neighborhood where I try and treat everybody like family. This store was originally opened, it was called the Gloria Food Store, 1927. It was actually started by a Greek family that grew up in South Boston, and they opened up an Italian store in East Boston. So it's kind of like an oxymoron all the way around. A Greek family from an Irish neighborhood opened up an Italian store. But it ended up being a chain of stores throughout the North Shore of Boston. And back in 2012, my brother bought it. That's why we changed it to Camella, which is my sister-in-law. My brother was here for 10 years, had a great business. And back in 2022, he decided to retire. So that's when I took over. I've always loved to cook and bake my whole life. It goes back to being, I remember graduating from 8th grade from the Joseph H. Barnes here in East Boston. Back then, we had to take home economics. So I was the only boy in home economics to get an award for cooking. And my mother taught me how to cook and bake, but there was never a recipe. So there's not like, all right, you got to put 3 cans of Kitchen Ready and a teaspoon of this. It's always by eye. I could never sit down and write a recipe. It's always been by eye. No one's doing them no more. And there was a couple other people, a lady in Winthrop, another lady in Somerville. So I said, let me start doing it. I started doing it and it took off like crazy. Stevie D'Amato comes in last year. He posted a video on the Wicked Bites Facebook page of my peppers. I shipped 800 jars in 3 weeks, all over the country, because of his video. And since then, it's taken off. My biggest seller still is a classic Italian sub. You know, mortadella, salami, sweet gabagool, or capicola for the people who don't know what gabagool is, and provolone cheese. Pickles, onions, tomatoes, hot peppers, oil seasoning. That's my #1 seller. I've sold over 8,000 Italian subs in 3 years. That's my #1 seller. Then we have the next one, the Jeffrey's Point, which is the chicken cutlet, prosciutto, tomatoes, fresh mozzarella, roasted peppers, oil, and seasoning. That's my second one. Then my third one is another one called the Chickie. Chicken cutlet, tomato, fresh mozzarella, pesto sauce, basil, and balsamic glaze. That one is named after my daughter. My daughter's name is Sabrina, but we call her Chickie since we got a kid. So we named it after her. So I grew up in this neighborhood. Growing up in this neighborhood, we were all family, but we weren't family. You know what I'm saying? We weren't related, but we were all related. I say East Boston cousins. We were all related one way or another. And this is kind of like one of the central locations of the neighborhood. You know, people will say, all right, let's go get breakfast sandwiches. I'll meet you at Camella's. You know, let's go get ice cream and take a walk to Camella's. I just want them to feel at home. Come in, the old nostalgia of the place. Like people say to me, you're going to remodel the place? Never. Oh, will I paint a little bit here and there? Yeah. But I just want it to be the old school feel. Like when you walked in the door, it's the 70s. You know what I mean? Just an old school feel. Have the TV on, the music playing, or whatever's going, just to make people feel at home.